Episode 22. The End Results of a World War. The Aftermath of the Throne Room. The brilliance of the four dragons combined strike still hung in the air like sunlight after a storm. The shadow being was no more, but beyond the ruined throne room, the world war raged on. The capital was still under siege from every direction, and its survival would be decided not just within the castle walls, but across every battlefield. The Eastern Front. Far to the east of the capital, the Unity Kingdom's eastern legions had nearly broken through. Flames devoured entire districts, and soldiers clashed amidst falling stone and blood-soaked streets. At the heart of the battle, Yuka, her armor shattered but her spirit burning brighter than ever, stood among her exhausted company. Her sword blazed with crimson light as she faced the last of Unity's vanguard. "Your walls will fall, and with them, your kingdom," mocked the Unity commander. "Then I'll be the wall they break against," said Yuka, defiant. With a roar, she surged forward. Each strike was fueled not by strength alone, but by conviction. Her blade tore through spear lines, her rallying cry pulling her soldiers back from despair. The eastern forces of Unity faltered, their momentum broken. With one last charge, Yuka and her company drove them back beyond the capital's outer barricades. As the dust settled, she collapsed to one knee, panting but smiling, because the east was defended. From the shadows of the battlefield, Yamaiko approached. His cloak was torn, his staff cracked, but his aura still radiated with quiet, unyielding power. "You've done well. Rest now. The West calls for me," said Yamaiko softly to Yuka. Yuka looked up, bloodied but unbowed, and nodded. "Then go. The capital still needs you," said Yuka firmly. The Western Front. The West roared with chaos. The major kingdom's cavalry had thundered into the capital's western gates, their lances breaking defenders' formations. Amidst the carnage, Yamaiko arrived, staff in hand. His eyes glowed with ancient wisdom as he raised his hand to the skies. Winds howled and the earth trembled. With a single incantation, Yamaiko summoned barriers of crystalline light across the broken walls, halting the cavalry's advance. Spears shattered against the shimmering wards, their momentum cut short. "Who dares stand against the North Smite?" shouted Major Captain Kionis, furious. "One who will see the capital endure," said Yamaiko, calm and unyielding. "Kionis, Makoni, let's retreat for now," said Omodus sharply. Kionis and Makoni both agreed and rallied as many of their soldiers as they could, pulling them back toward the major kingdom. The young mage unleashed a storm. Bolts of lightning lanced from his staff, splitting through armored riders. The ground itself heaved, swallowing siege towers into the earth. Every spell was precise, meant not to annihilate the land but to preserve what could be rebuilt. By the time night fell, the west was held. Yamaiko stood tall, staff planted into the ground, the capital's banners still flying above him. The interrogation. Deep within the dungeons beneath the capital, Captain Ozo emerged with his prize, Prince Anojohi of the Royal Kingdom, captured in the chaos of the battle. Chains bound the prince's wrists, and his once proud face was pale with defeat. Ozo slammed him against the stone wall, eyes burning. "Why does the Royal Kingdom fight beside our enemies? What do you gain from burning the world?" demanded Ozo. The prince laughed bitterly, spitting blood. "Gain? You think we had a choice? This war is older than either of us," said Prince Anojohi with scorn. Ozo tightened his grip. "Then speak. Every truth you hold is another life spared when this ends," said Ozo coldly. And slowly, under the weight of the capital's unbreakable will, Anojohi began to talk. The final defense. Though the shadow being had fallen, and though Yamaiko and Yuka held the east and west, the capital still buckled under the relentless siege. That was when Mae, Yae, Kurugi, and Kuromi emerged from the shattered throne room, their dragon forms blazing like gods walking among mortals. At the southern gate, they joined the defenders. Mae's golden flames scorched siege lines, Yae's silver winds scattered enemies, Kurugi's fists crushed cavalry in single blows, and Kuromi's hollow winds carved trenches through advancing legions. They fought not only in the south but wherever the capital faltered, appearing at every corner of the kingdom like a storm of light and fury. Their presence ignited hope in the weary defenders. Together with Yamaiko's wards, Yuka's crimson blade, and Ozo's relentless command, the capital withstood the siege. At last, the invading kingdoms, Major, Unity, and Royal, sounded their horns of retreat. Their commanders, bloodied and beaten, pulled their armies back beyond the capital's walls. Silence fell across the battlefield, broken only by the cries of the wounded and the crackle of dying fires. The capital had survived. In the center of the city, Mae lowered her dragon form, collapsing to one knee. Yae, Kurugi, and Kuromi gathered around her, equally exhausted but alive. "We did it, the kingdom still stands," said Mae, breathing heavily. "Not just the kingdom, the world itself still has a chance," said Yae, smiling faintly. Above them, the dawn broke through the smoke-filled skies. The war had scarred the land, but enough remained untouched for tomorrow to be rebuilt. And for the first time in generations, hope returned to the capital. To be continued.